Hey there! Welcome back to Writers World Radio, episode 43. I shall be your monstrous host, Matthew Graken. I'm going to talk to you today about an author may seem more appropriate for around Halloween. I mean, we're getting there. Still some time off. But her birthday was just recently. Mary Shelley. Born, like I said, just recently, well, depending when you're watching this, but it was August 30th of 1797 that she was born. That was quite some time ago. She was born Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin. Imagine saying that to your checks. She was born in the town of Summertown, London, in England. And if you understand her life, I'll just give you a glimpse of it. You understand her writing and how she came about possibly writing the novel that she's best known for, Frankenstein, also known as the modern Prometheus, primarily known as Frankenstein though. So, within the month after she was born, her mother passed away. It wasn't even 1 month. She was raised by her father, William Godwin. He self-educated her. Girls back then weren't so much, weren't too much into the school, or went to schools too often. So he took it upon himself to educate her, give her a proper raising, but he also encouraged his very liberal political theories upon her in his works. He was also somewhat of a writer himself. By the time she was 4, her father remarried, but no surprise, she didn't get along with her stepmother too well. Yeah, these things happen. In 1814, I guess that made her about, 17 years old, she started having an affair with a married man. Even back then, that wasn't looked upon too well. Well, back then, primarily, it wasn't looked upon well at all. By a gentleman by the name Percy Bysshe Shelley. Her and her stepsister, Claire Claremont, there's a name for you as well, they traveled to France. From France, they traveled most of Europe. This is while he's still married. By the time they came back from that trip, Mary was pregnant. Ostracized, facing a lot of debt, and he was still married. Mary gave birth to their love child, who passed away prematurely. And it was even a premature birth. Obviously, this did not probably sit well with her, and something that sat heavy in her heart. But even beyond that, in 1816, Percy's wife, Harriet, I think it was, committed suicide. I'm not making this up. This is not the tale of a soap opera. This is not some romance novel. This is actually what happened in her life. So, Percy's wife committed suicide, and they said, hey, I'm not married anymore. We can get married ourselves. So, Mary and Percy tied the knot and continued to travel. In fact, that year, 1816, was also the year that the couple spent most of the summer with Lord Byron, John William Polidori, her stepsister, Claire Claremont, who became Lord Byron's wife. They went to Geneva, Switzerland. This is key. Why is this key? Because this is where she sat around and came up with Frankenstein. Think about the events that just happened before that. Think about the events in Frankenstein. There's a lot of things that come together. After that, about 1818, the Shelleys left England and decided to move to Italy, where they tried for another child, and that one passed away, and third child passed away. Finally, the fourth child was their only surviving child, the only child that lived. And its name was Percy. 1822, so a few years later after moving to Italy, her husband drowned horrifically in a sailboating accident during a storm. So, again, with a heavy heart, she leaves Italy with Percy, moves back to England, where she raises her son on her own, and she takes up the career as a professional author. Also, as a professional author, she's also credited for a lot of editorial work, particularly Lord Byron and John William Powdory's work, and some of her father's, and also her husband, Percy Bysshe Shelley's work. She did a lot of editing, so a lot of behind-the-scene work was hers. Everyone, but not too many people remember theirs, but they remember Frankenstein. Until recently, until about 1970, that was the only book that was officially credited to her. But that changed. It came out through much scholarly work that The Last Man and Lourdes were both written by her as well. Some people attributed them to Lord Byron, but there was testimony that he had put out there that no, in fact, it was Mary Shelley's work and not his. So there you have it, Mary Shelley. Wow, what a life, and what a story. What are your thoughts of Frankenstein? I personally thought what people conceive of the story of Frankenstein to be, and to what the story of Frankenstein really are very different. Most people are very familiar with the universal adaptation of Frankenstein, the giant green monster with the flat head and the two bolts coming out of his neck. If you've read the book, you realize that is far from the case. And they more recently, in the 90s, did another adaptation of it, a bigger budget, which is a lot more on point towards the novel. That's also around the same time that the Bram Stoker's Dracula, in a lot more closer to novel adaptations of some of these stories. I find it a fascinating work. I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely one worth reading. Again, knowing the author's history, you realize the influence that her life had on that novel. And it comes across why it's so well written. But anyway, so what are your thoughts on it? Put them in the comments below. Shoot them out on the Twitter or Facebook. I'll give you the addresses. Twitter, it's at Matthew J. Graken. Facebook, it's facebook.com/Matthew J. Graken. Both of them are excellent media sources, social media sources to be able to get hold. Use the hashtag Writers World Radio to keep it all together. Keep it the whole link. You know how wonderful those hashtags are nowadays. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag analysis. So, keep those comments coming. What are some authors you want me to talk about? What are some topics you'd like me to talk about? Put them out there so I know and I can get them going. Not just that, make sure you like, rate, subscribe, and share this cast. Let other people know what you're listening to and get them involved. The more people we get involved, the more fun we can have. The more fun we have, the more wonderful this all becomes. It just becomes a great community. And as a writer, community is everything. Speaking of writing, keep it up. It is something you can do. If you need help, feel free to email me. And any of this stuff beforehand, as I was talking about, feel free to email me. This show's email is writersworldradio@yahoo.com. Keep writing. Again, like I always say, 10 minutes a day. But 10 minutes a day to either research, cover design, something. Apply yourself to your work. 10 minutes seems like very little. End of a week. Just a 5-day work week, that's 50 minutes. It's almost an hour. If you do the weekends as well, that's 70 minutes. That's over an hour. You'll be amazed by the end of a month how much you have accomplished. You can do it. The story is in you. And the story is only in you. You're the one to write that story. Even if it's a fan fiction story, if it is something that you feel passionate about, that just it doesn't seem fully connected. Sometimes just taking those first couple steps, writing the first chapter or two, opens up your mind's eye to endless possibilities that you didn't realize were there for your story. Keep it up. You can do it. If you need help, contact me. More than happy to help you out, throw a couple ideas at you. Hope you're all doing well. Just remember, everybody in Houston, Texas, in the United States here, they just went through some really hard times with the Hurricane Harvey. It is tragic. If you can help out in any way, please, I'm sure everyone there will be more than willing to, accept whatever you can do to help. If it's just a simple, donation, sending them some food, some clothing, perishables, even if it's a simple prayer. It is more than enough. It is, well, I won't say it's more than enough, but it is probably completely appreciated. I'm speaking for people that I do not know, but the fact that we remind them that they're not alone and they don't have to suffer to get, alone, that together we can help each other out, is an amazing thing. And it has to be appreciated. I know when New Jersey went through that with Superstorm Sandy, those type of things are much appreciated. It was always good to see people from other states coming to help us out. That aside, I hope everyone else is doing well. On such a downer note. Keep at it. Like I said, keep at it. You can do it. Keep those emails coming. Keep those tweets going. I appreciate all the retweets and the Facebook shares. And you know what? I'll see you next time.
It's moving. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.